We have a great matchup as the Green Bay Packers are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil. This is your Week 1 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe button if you're new. Also hit the like button. Usually I start off with the home team. Neither one of these teams are going to be at home. They're playing in Brazil. So let's start off with the Philadelphia Eagles. This team has had more movement throughout the offseason than most teams in the NFL. Two brand new coordinators on the offensive end and on the defensive side of the ball as well. Jalen Hurts last season took a major step back, and it's not because Jalen Hurts was a bad football player last season. Coach Johnson was a terrible offensive coordinator. We saw them lose both Shane Steichen, who was a very good offensive play caller. They also lost their defensive play caller, Jonathan Gannon, as well. You bring in Coach Johnson, terrible offensive coordinator. Jalen Hurts was terrible against the blitz last season, but it wasn't all on him. They ran a lot of curl routes, a lot of slant routes, and they rarely ever ran any new RPO type of plays, and the run game was not consistent enough. They started off the season red hot, but they will end up going 1-5 in the last 6 weeks of the regular season, and they will be an early exit against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You look at Kellen Moore, who is the brand new offensive play caller. You hope that he can come in and put new life into this Philadelphia Eagles offense, because on paper, this is one of the best teams in the NFL and one of the best offensive units in the NFL as a whole. When you look at names like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, you also have Dallas Goedert at the tight end position. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback as well. But those guys do have to step up and they have to play up. You don't have to scheme these guys open too much because they can just go out there and get open. A.J. Brown can go out there and beat double coverage. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Devontae Smith is a great route runner. The key to victory in this game for the Philadelphia Eagles is for Kellen Moore to go out there and to be consistent with his play calling, run the football with your brand new running back in Saquon Barkley, and try to work Jalen Hurts through the blitz. Now, it may be ugly early on in the season because Jalen Hurts has to go out there and learn yet another system. But he's been doing that for his entire career, even dating back to college. When he was a transfer from Alabama, then he went to OU and he had a lot of success there. Every single year, it seems like, even dating back to college, this kid has to learn a new system and he acclimates to it very well. I think that Jalen Hurts will have a bounce back season, and I also think that he will look very good in this game. Like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, you bring in Saquon Barkley. Last season, they had DeAndre Swift, who was not a bad running back, but Saquon Barkley is a better running back than DeAndre Swift. Saquon Barkley can catch the football at the backfield. He's one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL. He can have a Christian McCaffrey type of impact on the Philadelphia Eagles. We see what Christian McCaffrey is able to do with the San Francisco 49ers. Saquon Barkley can have that same impact. This is a loaded offense, and I expect for them to go out there and try to dominate the front seven of the Green Bay Packers. You no longer have Jason Kelce at the center position, but this is still one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You have Jordan Mailata at the left tackle position. Landon Dickerson is a very good left guard. Cam Jurgens is going to be a very good center. I like Mekhi Becton at the right guard position. That's very interesting because Mekhi Becton is a former tackle for the New York Jets, has dealt with injuries in the past, but when he has been able to stay on the field, he's looked solid. Now, last season, he was one of the most penalized tackles in the NFL, but now he's playing that right guard position. You also have Lane Johnson, who is one of the best right tackles in the game. You want to go out there and make sure when Jalen Hurts sees the blitz that he doesn't panic and he has options out the backfield. It was too many times last season they will send a blitz and they'll just run curl routes, or they'll send a blitz and everyone is just going deep, and Jalen Hurts will not feel comfortable. He'll throw the football out of bounds or he would take the sack. You don't want to see that here. Lean more into that run game and let Jalen Hurts take over when he needs to. Jalen Hurts is not the best pocket passing quarterback in the NFL, not even close, but he can make some moves inside the pocket, get him going on the run, play action bootlegs, and get him comfortable. He's not a quarterback that should have over 30 pass attempts in a game. Him and Saquon Barkley can carry this game with their legs. You saw what the New York Giants was able to do a couple of years ago with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. They'll run that zone read option. You can do the same thing here. And Jalen Hurts is on a different planet when you talk about being a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. With all the weapons that they have, I expect for the Philadelphia Eagles to go out there and set a tone and to score a lot of points in this football game. Far as their defense last season was a major letdown. Their offense had to go out there and score a lot of points early on. Their front seven was good at times, but very inconsistent due to bad play calling yet again. They went out there and they removed their defensive coordinator at the beginning, and they brought in Matt Patricia to go out there and coach up defensive plays for the back half of the season. And when they went against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were terrible. And that's on Nick Sirianni because he hired two terrible coordinators. You now have Coach Vic, who is coming over from the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins defense looked very good. The one thing about Vic, he will not go out there and run a lot of blitzes. He likes to keep things in front of his defense, and he likes to get home with his original front 4 to front 5 guys. You look at what they have on this defensive side of the ball. They're talented as hell. Jordan Davis is a very good defensive tackle. Jalen Carter is very good in his own right as well. Bryce Huff, who is coming over from the New York Jets, did have double-digit sacks last season, but he's not a first and second down pass rusher. He's a third down pass rusher. He's more so into situations. It's not a bad thing to have, but he's not going to be able to go out there in first and second down. I don't expect for him to go out there and carry a majority of the load. That's still going to be Brandon Graham, who did take a step back last season. But Brandon Graham can still go out there, give you a lot of pass rush, and he can stop the run, while Bryce Huff can just tuck his ears back on third down and just get after those guys. And I will also say this, he's coming from a loaded New York Jets defense. He's going to be a very good football player with the Philadelphia Eagles. Just pay attention to how they use him in week 1. He may be in that third down role, but at the same time, he may play first and second down a lot more. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do over here with the Philadelphia Eagles. Linebackers were a problem last season as well. They dealt with so many injuries at that position. They had to go out there and bring in Shaq Leonard, who had just got cut from the Indianapolis Colts. No hate towards him. Great player in the past. Before he suffered that back injury, he did not look good. Those linebackers could not tackle in space and they could not cover. You now bring in Devin White, who has been up and down in his career, but he's a very athletic linebacker, and he has not played with a front seven like this before. No disrespect with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a lot of good defenses with Todd Bowles and when Bruce Arians was the head coach. But now he comes over behind this pass rush, and what he's going to be able to do with these guys is read and react. And this may be the best defensive coordinator that he has ever played with in his career. You also look at Zach Bond. Can he come in and give you a lot of good plays? You have Josh Sweat, who can also come off the edge. He's going to generate a lot of pressure. I like the front seven as a whole. You have Nakobe Dean in there as well. They have good players to go out there and stop the run. Because you look at the Green Bay Packers, they have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Jordan Love. They are bringing in a brand new running back in Josh Jacobs. Did have a down year last season, but the season before that, he led the league in rushing. You do not want to get gashed by the Green Bay Packers. And you want to watch out for that play action as well, because we know that Coach LaFleur loves to call up those plays. And this leads me into their secondary. You have to be careful here. The Green Bay Packers do not have a true number 1 wide receiver, but all of their wide receivers are good, even down to their bench. You have to be careful here. And this is where the Philadelphia Eagles defense took a major step back. Now, James Bradberry last season, he was not good. He was terrible. Right now, he's dealing with an injury. He's going to miss the first couple of weeks. He's on IR right now. You have a younger secondary, and they're more versatile. You look at what they were able to do in the NFL draft. Quinyon Mitchell is known to do one thing, be a press man corner, man you up hip to hip. You also have Darius Slay, who was solid last season, is a good veteran to have around. He's not too happy that they had to play in Brazil because the NFL are taking precautions. They want everyone to stay in their hotel room. But you know that he's going to be motivated to play in this game. He was pissed off about how last season ended. You have Kelee Ringo as well. I think that he's going to be a very good player. Isaiah Rodgers is the one to look out for. He missed all of last season dealing with a gambling issue, but the season before that, he was a star with the Indianapolis Colts in their secondary. Missing a year of football has never helped anyone, but he's a very good cornerback that you can rely on. So now you have more depth pieces in that secondary, and they're more versatile. I'm very interested to see what Cooper DeJean is going to do with this defense. He can play inside the slot. He can play some safety. He can play some outside cornerback. It's going to be very interesting to see what Coach Vic does do with him on the defensive side of the ball. But the Philadelphia Eagles, they have a great shot to win this game. They're loaded all around. This is one of the best rosters from the quarterback position all the way down to the kicker. Even their kicker and Jake Elliott is very good as well. Even their punter. This is a loaded football team. And you have to think, if they struggle early on in the season, Nick Sirianni may be fired. So this is one of those situations you want to go out there, try to set the tone, and you really want to try to go out there and run over the Green Bay Packers. But it's not going to be easy to do. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. This team shocked the hell out of me last season. It was the first full season that Jordan Love got to be the starter. And he looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And you could say, hey, off of that one season, he's already in that conversation. I wouldn't argue with you. The thing is with Jordan Love, like I mentioned, they don't have a true number one wide receiver. You could say that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. You look at these weapons that they have. It's ridiculous. Christian Watson has dealt with injuries in the past. That rookie season with Aaron Rodgers, he dealt with a lot of dropping issues. Sophomore season, when he was able to stay healthy, he looked very good. I go back to that Kansas City Chiefs game. He looked like the true number one guy. You have Romeo Doubs, who is Mr. Consistent as well, especially on second and third down. Jaden Reed has number one potential as well. You have 3 wide receivers that can be your true number one wide receivers. You also have Luke Musgrave, who I really like a lot at the tight end position. If you listen to this channel for quite some time, you guys know that I love some Luke Musgrave, especially when he came out of college. You also have Tucker Kraft as well. These guys may not be known. They may not have that name value like how the Philadelphia Eagles offensive players have, but don't sleep on them. It's the reason why they went into the NFL playoffs. They got red hot last season on the back half of the season. Jordan Love had 18 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. Those turnovers went down and he got more into sync with the offense when they were able to stay fully healthy. This is a dangerous football team, and Coach LaFleur is putting them into the right situations, especially on the offensive side of things. The key to victory here is to try to run the football and set the tone, but let Jordan Love work. Let him go out there and carry you if need be. Test out that secondary for the Philadelphia Eagles. And like I mentioned before, Vic Fangio, he does not like to go out there and blitz a lot. He did not do that with the Miami Dolphins until they started to deal with injuries to their pass rushers. He likes to sit out there and stay in zone coverage and man coverage here and there. And he'll flip in some combo coverage. But Jordan Love caught on the back half of the season on how to truly read NFL defenses. And he benefited a lot from sitting behind a veteran like Aaron Rodgers. You have a brand new running back in Josh Jacobs. Like I mentioned earlier, last season wasn't his best season. It was a down year, but he's a very talented running back. The Raiders were not put into the best situation. You could say this is the best quarterback that he's ever played with. And Derek Carr at the time was a solid quarterback. They're not going to load the box too many times. And we saw what he was able to do when the boxes weren't loaded with Derek Carr. He can go out there and he can run for an extra 3 to 4 yards after contact. You also have Marshawn Lloyd as well. Right now, he's questionable to play in this game. We all know that A.J. Dillon, unfortunately, is going to miss all of this season, dealing with a neck injury. I really wish that he would be able to play this season. That really sucks. But you have a good plethora of offensive weapons. And as long as you can keep Jordan Love upright from this pass rush, you're going to be in a very good situation. From Zach Tom at the right tackle position to Elton Jenkins at the left guard position, I like what they're doing. I like the Packers' offensive line. They're young and they can get after it. So overall, their defense is going to have to go out there and step up the most. But when I look at the offense side of things, they're in a good situation. You also have Bo Melton as well, who can make some plays for you. It's a very good, speedy wide receiver. Now let's talk about this defense. Brand new defensive coordinator. Thank you, Coach LaFleur. Joe Barry was terrible. The Packers defenses have not been good underneath Joe Barry. I don't understand why Joe Barry was ever hired to be a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. He was a terrible coach with the Detroit Lions. It made 0 sense. But now you bring in a brand new coach at the defensive side of the ball. Jeff Hafley. He's the former coach for Boston College. Shout out to them, by the way. They just took care of business against Florida State last night. This defense needs brand new philosophy. The players are already there. As long as they're healthy, you're going to be good. From Lucas Van Ness to Preston Smith, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, they can get after the quarterback, and Devontae Wyatt. I'm not worried about them. That front seven can go out there. They can do their own thing. With terrible play calling last season, they started to get after the quarterback even more. It was a secondary at times that was problems because they were dealing with injuries on the back end. But Coach Barry, 0 halftime adjustments. It's going to come down to that. Who can make more halftime adjustments? The Philadelphia Eagles on their defensive side of the ball or the Green Bay Packers? I expect for both of these teams to go out there and try to score a lot of points, but at the same time, these defenses may go out there and step up because both front sevens are nasty. And I like the linebackers for the Green Bay Packers as well. Isaiah McDuffie is a very good player. I like Eric Wilson at the middle linebacker position. Quay Walker has matured into being a very good player. I go back to what happened a couple of years ago when he had the penalty against the Ravens, I believe. And it was just a bad play on him. Then he comes back, he matures, he looks better, and he's even a better player than he was a couple of years ago. I like what they have done with this front seven, and I like the players that they have. Far as the secondary, you want to be careful. I would not play press coverage on A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. The Philadelphia Eagles also brought in Jahan Dotson as well. Look at him to make a lot of key plays in this game. He was brought in to be the number 2 wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. That did not pan out. He dealt with some injuries. He wasn't able to go out there and fully live up to potential. He's now with a fully loaded team. He's going to see a lot of single coverage, especially with Dallas Goedert as well being mixed into things. So I'm worried about both defenses, but I do believe that overall, long-term, the Packers defense will be in a good situation. And it's not like that they just have a bunch of bombs in their secondary. Jair Alexander, as long as he's fully healthy, he's a very good cornerback to have. You have Javon Bullard as well at the strong safety position. You not only went out there and brought in Josh Jacobs through free agency, you also went out there and you selected Xavier McKinney as well in free agency to get him from the New York Giants, who was one of the better safeties in the NFL last season. He can do everything for you in coverage. He can tackle. He is a great safety to have, especially with this defense. And you have Eric Stokes, who is going to be fully healthy as well. So this is a hard game to choose who is the winner going to be. It's also one of those games that could be a complete shootout, or it could just be one of those games to where they're both middle of the road because they're trying to figure things out early on. With that being said, I am going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. They need to win this game in the worst way to set a tone. And I think they win this game 35-28. This is going to be a high scoring affair. And I think that it can really go either way. No team has home field advantage. The atmosphere is going to be crazy in Brazil. They love some football over there, especially NFL football. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? The Green Bay Packers, or do you have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Oh, and by the way, if you do use NFL Red Zone, if you wanted to go out there and test it out, they're doing a free trial this weekend. So just go to NFL Red Zone on Sunday. Log into the information. I think that you can just get it in for free with just signing up with your email, but they're definitely doing a free pass this weekend. So if you want to try to go out there and watch the highlights of different games, I advise you guys to use it. It's free. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.